Hi and welcome to another video by Jimthecarguy. Today I'm going to show you how to diagnose and repair an air conditioning problem. The problem with this car is that the customer was driving along, the AC was working perfectly, and they were starting to climb up a hill, and all of a sudden the AC shut off and it just stopped. So I'm going to show you what to do step by step to figure out what the problem is, whether it's a leak in the system or it's a failure of a hose or what the problem is. So I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to show you, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to connect up an AC machine to it, and you want to check the pressures on the high side and the low side just to make sure that there's freon inside the compressor. If there is no freon in the compressor, there's a switch on there that's actually going to shut the compressor clutch off and keep it from circulating what's left inside the system, and it'll keep the compressor from turning on if there's no pressure or low pressure. So we're going to take step one before we get to step two. We'll figure out what's going on. So first thing we're going to do is check the pressures in the system. So let's get up there and let's do that. Everything is color coded. Blue, of course, being low pressure, or the size of the fitting right here tells you if it's high side or low side. There's different sizes. All right, so that's the one. The second one is back on this particular car, back in the corner over here. All right, and you can see this is the low side right here. So the low side is smaller, the high side is larger. So let's connect up and we'll see what the pressures are. Okay, well now looking at the pressure here, now obviously if you don't have a machine like this, you can just get the gauges so you can actually check the pressure, but with this pressure in here now, that should be adequate to keep it, to have the AC system turn on. So let's go in the vehicle and we'll start it up and let's see what happens. Okay, now it's a little noisy, I know that, but as you can see, the gauges actually did not move at all. They stayed exactly where it was before we had the vehicle running. So now the next thing we're going to do is you can hear that cooling fan down there is running. You can hear how loud that is, so we know that the cooling fan is working for the condenser. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look down at the compressor. Let me get something, I'm going to point it out to you. But you can see this is the drive belt, and the drive belt is actually turning the outer part of the compressor. So you can see right in here, this is the inner part of the compressor. I don't know if you can see that, but that's not rotating. You see how that's standing still? That's not rotating at all. So we have two things going on. Either we have no power going to this wire right here, or we have no ground coming back through this wire over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to disconnect this connector right here, and we're going to come in here with a test light or a power probe or whatever you have, and we're going to check to see if we have power here, and we're going to check over here to make sure we have a ground over here. So let me grab the power probe and we'll come right back. Okay. All right. Now, the way a power probe works is that you have this light here. This will tell you when you have a good ground. It'll turn green when it's a ground, and it'll turn red when it's positive. So we're just going to check in here right now to make sure we have positive. As you can see, it lights up red. That means we have power going to the clutch. And now we're just going to come down over here and we're going to check our ground. And you see how it turns green? We have a good ground to the clutch itself. So we have power and we have ground. The clutch itself should be working, so there is a problem in the clutch. Okay, so as you can see, we have power and we have ground. We also have freon inside the system, which means that this compressor should be turning. The freon is full, it has power, and it has ground. So we know there's a failure in the clutch assembly itself. We're just going to make a phone call now to find out if it's less expensive to replace just the clutch, or the cost of compressors have come down drastically. It may just be more cost efficient just to change the entire compressor. But we're going to get some prices. We'll talk to the customer and let them know what's going on, and then we'll see what we're going to do. Most likely, we are going to change the compressor. So, all right, let me make a couple of phone calls, talk to the customer, and we'll come right back. Okay, We did talk it over with the customer, and we elected that we are going to replace the entire compressor assembly because there's less money to replace the compressor than it would be to replace just the clutch, because the additional labor involved with switching over the clutch versus removing the entire compressor. To switch over the clutch, you're going to have to take the compressor off the vehicle anyway, so you have the additional time to switch the clutch over. But she elected to replace the whole assembly. So the first thing we're going to do is we have our machine connected up now. We need to empty out the system. You cannot take the lines off the AC system with it charged. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over and we're going to discharge the system. So I'll show you how that goes. Okay. And then we're going to recover what's in there now. So we're going to let it clear out, we're going to let it pump down, and once this pumps out, we're going to write down how much Freon comes out of the system, and that way we know how much was in there if it was short. So, all right, we'll let this pump out, and then we'll come right back. All right, let's remove the compressor, and then we're going to continue. First thing we're going to do now is we're going to come down here, and we need to take that drive belt, or fan belt in this case, off of the compressor. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to come over here to the tensioner right here, and we're going to release the tension on this belt, and we're going to pull the belt off the car. So let me do that, and we'll continue. Okay, so now we just put a ratchet onto the tensioner, and we just pull on it and release the tension on the drive belt. Just push down on it, and then we'll take the belt off the compressor. And we can just let the tensioner go. And we can just put the belt off to the side like this for now. And then we're going to come down on top of the compressor. And I'll show you how to remove the compressor from the vehicle next. After we have the system totally emptied out, we have no pressure left in there at all. We're going to come back over here and we're going to disconnect the AC lines right here on top of the compressor. This one and this one. Now whenever you crack a line open, even though we know that this is totally emptied out, be very careful, because sometimes you will get a little blowback through the compressor, even if it's in a vacuum. So we're going to crack these two loose. And now once we have them loose, we can take them out. These should be the same length, but we're going to make sure. Okay, they're the same length, so it doesn't really matter. Now we're going to take the lines out of the way. Just rock them back and forth. And then we can pull it out just like this. Now we're going to put this off to the side for now. If this is going to be disconnected for an extended period of time, put a rag over it so no debris or any foreign matter gets inside it. And we'll take our next line off down the bottom. Same thing, we're just going to rotate it. And we'll pull that up as well. And that's out of the way, and now we're going to put another rag around this one. You may drip a little bit of compressor oil as well. I'm going to get these as far out of the way as I can. We're going to take out the 13mm bolts. Now we can take our compressor out. And this is our AC compressor. This is the failed piece of the compressor, the clutch right here. Usually it's the electronic, the magnetic clutch that goes bad. or one of the wires or something like that. But like I said, we're going to change the entire assembly because it was a lot less expensive doing it that way for her. So, all right, let's grab the new part, and we're going to continue. All right, I just want to bring this out to your attention. Also, this system here, always check in the box to make sure. This compressor comes with pre-measured oil in it. We don't drain it, we don't adjust it, so the oil level is going to be correct already in this compressor. And now our compressor is ready to go back in the car, so let's put it back in the car. Back down where it came out. Now you see I put these back in here because I don't want the oil to spill out when I put this compressor back in. So now we're going to put the compressor down in there. I'm going to catch this bolt, and this bolt all by hand. Before I tighten them up, I'm going to make sure all three are caught, and then I'll screw them back and tighten them in. So now we have all three caught by hand. We could tighten these up now with the ratchet. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our hoses that we previously disconnected. And we're going to take off this O-ring right here, and we're going to change these O-rings on both of these hoses right now before we put it back together. Again, I always use a scribe because this way I can hook the O-ring and take it out so we don't lose it, so we can match it up with the new O-ring that we need. So let me match this up and we'll put the new one back on there. We have a new O-ring. I have it soaking in oil before you put it back on there. Alright, and now we'll put this back in down the bottom, and then we're going to change the O-ring on the other hose. As tempted as you are to reuse these old O-rings, don't do it. Always change them. A new one in oil as well. We'll take our line, hold it with your thumb, and just put it on just like that. And now we're going to put these back into the top of the compressor, and then we'll snug them down. All right, so I got these two lines are now caught. We're going to plug in our electrical connector right here. We're going to put our drive belt back on now. But before we put that drive belt on, we're going to start this pumping down into a vacuum. Now remember, we got in here with this tool just like this. I put it on here, and then we pulled it. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get the belt on the compressor. We're just going to keep slight pressure here, just like that, until we can get the belt back on just the way it belongs. Okay, let me bring you in there. All right, now as you can see, the drive belt is on the grooves the way it's supposed to be, there, and it's on its underneath here just the way it's supposed to. All of the teeth on the drive belt line up with the grooves on the pulley. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We're all ready to go. We're going to let this pump down into a vacuum now. We got 13 minutes to go, so we're going to pump it into a vacuum, and then we're going to charge it up with Let's see what it says here. I think .99 was maximum, and minimum is .77. So it's about 3/4 of a pound to 1 pound. So all right, let's pump it into a vacuum and we'll continue. Calls for .99 is maximum and 77 is minimum, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to charge it up with the minimum first. And start it up and we'll see how the pressures are. Okay, now normal pressure is supposed to be around 30 on the low side and around 200 on the high side. So we may be a little bit higher than normal because we're in the back of the shop where it's actually pretty hot back here. There's no airflow. Let's go inside the truck and take a look inside and see what it is. Okay, I know you can't feel it, but it is really nice and cold now. So let me stick a thermometer in here, and that's it. We should be all set. The pressures are a little bit higher, like I said, because we're in the back of the shop here. We have very little air circulation in the back over here, but I'm confident when I take it out for a drive right now, it's going to be nice and cool. I will stick the thermometer inside the vent, and we should be down into the normal zone, which I think is like on this particular one, probably around 50 to 60 degrees. So, and it is pretty hot out here today too, just so you know. So we're going to take it for a drive. We'll make sure it's okay. Then we'll call the customer and get this vehicle back to them. I'm sure they're going to be very happy. It took a lot longer than I thought because the parts took forever to get here because they sent me the wrong parts twice. Not once, but twice. So, all right. What are you going to do? Another day, another headache, right? All right, that's it. We're all done. Out of here. Time to close up and go home. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.